I'm Van.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Ghosty and... Where's Chip? Oh, Chip's there. Yep.
Chip's
and
there.
Culpy.
Emergency. Slipknot came out with a new song.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you...
Yeah. We interrupt our maternity leave to bring you Slipknot Unsainted. That's it.
Yep.
Let's go.
Oh. Good Lord, I'm out of sync with this. Okay. Go.
This is not what I was expecting.
To
Wow. That guy, he can sing.
Corey?
Yeah. It's so funny because you don't expect it, like, in this type of music. You know what I mean? Like, I know that we've heard Slipknot a bunch of times now, and it should be expected, but for some reason, it always surprises me.
Of all the vocalists that came out of the nu metal era, whatever the era you want to call 2000s, him and the dude from Disturbed and Chester.
Yeah.
Those three
your favorite?
are well, not my. I don't like the dude from Disturbed. I really don't like his style, but I think his.
Oh, that's right. You didn't like
his vocal. It was the one that did what do you call it? It's Sound of Silence.
Oh, I know. I loved it.
So he's good. He's actually really, really good. A good vocalist. I mean, I don't like the style per se, but vocally. So Corey was in the top 3 of like the new batch of vocalists.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, because at the time, especially when nu metal came out, everybody had this formula. It was like you're gonna be hard on the verses, and then you're gonna sing on the chorus. Mm-hmm. So nu metal was like glutted with that.
Oh, okay.
But you'd see these bands live, and they couldn't sing.
Oh, yeah.
And the funny thing is, when I first saw Slipknot, their sound stuff was terrible. So when he would yell, it was just literally just noise at the beginning.
Oh.
But when he would sing,
you would hear some.
You would hear the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how you feel about him, how you feel about Slipknot. When Corey decides to sing, he's a badass.
Yeah, he really is.
You got to give him that.
Yeah.
Brilliant vocalist. What did you think the song was about?
To me, it seemed like, I'm not sure if the person that he was talking about was like, I don't know, like his own self. Because it was some of the things that he was like, I don't know if it was like like we talk sometimes about the shadow self, like trying to like overtake things. And I don't know if that's what was being discussed. There was a part at the end where I was like, or is this like another person? Did you think you could win and fill me in? But then I was like, well, yeah, but fill me in could be like that shadow self like taking over him completely. Do you think you could do it again? Because maybe it happened to him before. I'm not your sin. But then I'm not your sin kind of sounded like maybe it was some sort of a relationship or something.
Well, remember, they just recently lost a band member.
Yeah.
And he made it very public.
Yeah.
About why. And Corey and the Clown were like the 2 main guys that were being accused. Mm-hmm. Basically, that they were shorting one of the band members on money. I don't want to air out the dirty laundry because, it's like, it happened. Whatever happened. It's really none of my. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm not there. It's you have one guy's and his lawyer, and then you have.
Well, it's like that verse in the Bible that says like basically one story sounds like that's the truth until you hear the other side.
Until you hear the other one. Right. Sadat. And really, those are for the judges to decide. But I do. So. I'm kind of biased in my interpretation of the lyrics because it's one of those things where you kind of like.
Do you think it has something to do with that?
I think so. You've killed the saint in me. How dare you martyr me?
Yeah. You think it was the guy that left the band he's talking about?
Well, I think so. Because what he's saying is, when he says you've killed the saint in me, how dare you martyr me?
Yeah.
It's like people push you to the point where you can no longer play Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh, yeah, I know.
See what I'm saying?
I know that. Yep.
So it's one of those things where it's like, I wonder if he's saying, dude, I have been a saint in regard to handling you. Mm-hmm. Like, but some of a lot of this is in code because I don't think they would ever come out and say anything like explicit about him per se. But I think. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was cutting you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
When he says, "I'm finally holding on to letting go," you think he was letting go of that person?
Yeah.
The band member?
Yeah.
Because that didn't really fit into my.
And when that dude came out, I think most Slipknot fans stayed on the side of the band. And I mean, really, at the end of the day, you were the percussionist, and this is Corey Taylor, one of the greatest. I'm not really a giant Slipknot fan, but he's one of the greatest. Mm-hmm. So I think he won the whole thing as far as the public opinion goes, but he did look pretty terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Both of them look pretty terrible in the sense of Slipknot was supposed to be this family, you know, da 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 da.
And then it came out looking like.
And he made it sound like, oh, these two masterminds are stealing money from us and from me and yada 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 yada, and I'm not being paid my fair share. So you've killed the saint in me. How dare you martyr me? It's basically you killed him in the, you killed him in the court of public opinion to some degree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yep.
And then it's, I'm setting you free. I was more than you thought I could be, so I'm setting you free. I'm setting you free. So, like, and
it's so funny how these lyrics, like, they all work to kind of go to my narrative too of what it was about.
And what was your narrative again?
That it was like his dark self, his shadow self. What was the last line that you just read?
You killed the saint in me. I'm setting you free. I was more than you thought I could be.
Yeah. Yeah, you know how, like, I don't know, random example, but remember how when we were watching Ones with the Kids, and there was, like, Regina had split herself into two?
Yeah.
And, like, the darker part of herself was always like, you're weak, you can't accomplish anything, to her, like, nicer side.
Yeah.
So, like, I thought that was kind of like that, where he says, I was more than you thought I could be, because, like, the darker side of himself, like, was always judging, like, the other side of himself.
Right.
But
yeah, and it's hard to tell because I don't know. I mean, they were working on the record when the whole public divorce happened. So I don't know if this was a song they were already working on. It might have nothing to do with him, or it could be a song they were working on and then he put some lyrics in there and like for example when he says like, "Did you think you could do it again?" Like, I think, like, this happens more, at least in my opinion, in rap than it does in metal. But because rap is so lyrical, you can put words in there, you can put lines in there that only that specific person knows what you're talking about. You know, like, the one we're working on right now, there's, like, very specific lines that are very meaningful, but only you would know because the song was meant for you.
right.
So, I feel, when he says, like, did you think that you could win and fill me in? Did you think you could do it again? Like do what again?
Right.
But maybe something had happened with somebody and they had done it and they were given chance after chance after chance.
He says, I'm not your sin. So maybe like what you're saying, but maybe the other guy did something.
Right.
And now he's saying, like, I'm not taking the fall for you.
Right.
Because
right.
he says the whole, I'd never kill myself to save my soul.
Right. Right. Because in order for this relationship to continue, I would have to constantly kill myself. But in the end, it makes me a better person. You know, people say like, be the bigger man or whatever. I think that this song is kind of like, no, I'm tired of being the bigger man. Because that's the other thing. There's a lot of, if you are that type of person, there's a lot of stuff that you know, but you won't say about people. Because you want to be the bigger man.
Yeah.
Or there's things that you won't do or lines that you won't cross. Even if other people cross lines, you're not going to cross those lines because you're trying to be the bigger man or whatever.
Yep.
And he's saying, nah, I'm done with that. Like, I'm going to go blitz you.
Yeah. See, I'm like, I hit breaking points like that. You're not like that. Or are you?
Well, it's just I don't think I'm being the bigger man. That's the thing. Like, I don't think I'm doing anything. Like, if somebody tells me something, if somebody tells me something in confidence.
Yeah.
And they go off and do something crazy against me, I'm not going to go and air them out. And that doesn't mean I'm the bigger man. It just means I'm a man, period. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's just, I'm specifically talking about if people tell you something in confidence, people tell you something.
No, I agree with you.
You know,
I think that's true.
You're not a saint or a hero because you don't spill all their tea.
Too.
You don't spill all their tea just because they went off and said something publicly about you. You're not a hero for that.
Yeah, but I think most people would feel like they were a hero because of that. I feel like that you're like part of that. That's just like one more of your like anomaly things. I think the majority of people, tell us in the comment section, the majority of people, if you shared secrets and someone else shared secrets and they friggin' went and put all your secrets on blast and then you still kept theirs and you kept that level of honor, wouldn't you feel like a good person or like a... I don't think most people would be like, I know, I mean, that's whatever. I feel like that's just...
I think some of that
very few people.
I think some of that is cultural.
Oh, maybe.
Right? Because where I came up is like, you just don't talk. Like,
that's true. That's true.
My family culture and then the culture in the Bronx is you don't talk. You act, but you don't talk.
Isn't it weird? Because I came up in a very Christian context. And like gossip and all of that is like, it's real. And then here you are coming up in like, I don't know, like I don't want to, in the, violence and all kinds of these things on the streets in New York and stuff. And like you have and gossip is not something that's like,
well,
people's lives are on the line.
What I said was, you don't talk, you act. Right? So if you hear somebody saying something about you,
yeah,
I would never, oh, blah, 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 he said this, and, whatever. It's just that person then, you say on site. If I catch you on site, I'm going to, whatever.
Yeah.
My Christian sensibilities, like, I still have honestly, a lot of it is street code stuff. Like, I'm not, if you told me something, I'm never going to tell another human soul ever for the rest of my life. But the Christianity part for me comes in the fact that I'm not going to go after you either. Like, I'm not going to put my hands on you either. Now I'm just going to, like, I'm done with you. But before, see, the thing is, like, growing up there, it wasn't about being a tough guy either. It was like, if you didn't do something when somebody did something to you, then
it was a survival thing.
were, then people had you as a target. So my point is, like, I see what you're saying because of the way that you came up, like somebody's. And the thing is, it's like nobody's told any of my secrets anywhere because I don't tell people.
Well, I was like, you don't say your stuff.
So it was people's speculations about whatever.
Right.
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 The imaginary scenarios that they had in their head or whatever, and they said, whatever. But I'm not going to come out and the thing is, the people that they know that I'm like that.
Yeah.
Because they know. I'm sitting there like, hey, you serious? Because they know I know all of their shit.
Well, that's, yeah. I didn't understand that.
So they
people must have known you weren't going to say anything.
They knew I wasn't going to say anything. You know what I mean? So, and I just think that type of tit for tat stuff gets you, turns you into a weak person. I think. Just, especially like in the social media age, forget it. But
I agree. I think that in the moment, people feel more powerful when they have a way to fight. But I think, yeah, in the end.
Yeah.
What? Why'd you say yeah like that? You don't think people feel more powerful in the moment when they're putting you on blast or going after you?
No, I don't think so.
I think so.
I don't think so.
I think it's like when you're angry, and anger, like you have like this angry reaction to something, like you feel powerful, but then after you're like, no.
Yeah, people who need all that public affirmation and stuff like that, to me, are just weak people. You're just, you have a problem with a person and you can't deal with the fact that a lot of it is, I just don't care and I moved on with my life and you're not in my life. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have a very, very hard time dealing with that type of break because when it happens with me, it's very quick. So to me, it's just, those are all just symptoms of weakness to me. Like, if you really think you're right, you don't need to go out in the public and get a whole bunch of other people to agree with you and feel bad for you and whatever. So, to me, it's just you're a weak person. That's the slip, and it's funny because Corey really didn't say much. When all that stuff was going on,
really,
he really didn't say anything. This dude was going around saying all types of crazy, talking to everybody who will listen to him, and I think Slipknot released one statement, and I don't even think Corey addressed it, period. And that's the way I'd handle it.
Well, it was like that Tom Brady clip. Remember that one?
Yeah.
He was like,
yeah, it's
I'm
like,
not
I'm not gonna lower myself to
let you drag me through the mud. Like, it's,
yeah, you
say what you want, but I'm not going there.
You roll around in the mud.
Yeah,
and nobody knows who those people are. Mm-hmm. Nobody. Who are these people? I know who Tom Brady is.
Right.
I'll tell you something. In 20 years, we'll know who Corey Taylor is. I guarantee you that. I'm not disrespecting the other guy. I'm saying is that the other guy was going around talking to anybody who'd hear him. Corey just stayed quiet. Didn't even just kept posting on Instagram like nothing happened. And that's how I'd handle it. I tip my hat to the guy. But I do think it bothered him because again, it's a court of public opinion, and then you get a bunch of people that think they're experts about stuff, and you know.
Yeah, especially if you're, if you're. I just got distracted by that vibration. What did you just say?
Well, I was just saying that he was just going along like nothing happened.
Oh, especially if you have if you've allowed the praise of your audience to like give you something, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden people flip on you, it makes it more difficult.
Although, on a completely different track, this could also be talking and have nothing to do with that conflict that he had with the other dude in the band, and could be about religion. Right?
Yeah.
And
talks about the Bible.
becoming an atheist. So like what he says is, denial is the darkest. When you live in a hole, why does the hell make you feel so cold? Make a move and you pay for it. Pick a Lord and you pray to it. Mm-hmm. You're so demanding when you want the truth, but your stories don't read for me. But then in the second verse, he says explicitly, you got to lie if you want to believe, but your Bibles don't work on me.
Well, this too. Where was it? Oh, I'll never kill myself to save my soul. You know that, oh my gosh, now I can't think if it's a verse or if it's a quote, but it was like, it's a Bible verse. Basically, like, you have to lose your life to gain it, like that whole idea.
Yeah, lose your life. Yeah, well, there's a lot of things. He who loves his life in this world will lose it, and whoever hates his life in this world will gain it.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of, deny yourself, take up your cross. There's a lot of, like, you have to die to yourself type of ideology in Christianity. Mm-hmm. And so it could be about that. Like, I'm not going to do all this self-denial to save myself. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm just going to live how... And it's funny, he's like, you got to lie if you want to believe. That's a very interesting line.
Yeah.
And the reason it's interesting to me is because all I've known my entire life is Jesus.
Right.
Like, in my own personal experience, as a very, very young child, and in my... so there was never 1 second in my life when I did not believe the Bible and Jesus. Like, obviously you have doubts. Doubts come in, and how did this happen, and why did God do this, and da-da-da-da-da, and there's still like a bunch of untied shoelaces. But there's never been a time when I didn't know the Bible was God's word and that Jesus. So that's one of the more fascinating things to me about my atheist friends is like, they really don't believe the Bible, which is, I can't like wrap my mind around it. Like, you don't believe the Bible, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. And I think it's like a look from the other side, which is you could be so deep on the other side of unbelief that a person could think, okay, this guy must know that this isn't true. Mm-hmm. But you're just lying to yourself in order to believe your Bible. Right? And then, you got some Christians that'll say, well, there's a God and the Bible's true, but you're just lying to yourself to,
Yeah.
And so both are kind of like psychoanalyzing each other.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that line right there was interesting to me because that seems to be, the Calvinist presuppositionalists, there's a God, but you're just denying it. Could you be wrong about everything you claim to know?
Right.
So like, So it seems like that's kind of like an atheistic version on that. Like you know that this is all BS, but you're just lying to yourself to, whatever. So your Bible doesn't work on me. Like, I don't believe any of that stuff. I'm making my own way. I'm doing my own thing. I don't need your whatever.
You know what's interesting is both of us were raised, well, differently, but similar in some senses. And both of us never like questioning the Bible and the validity of the Bible was not something that like came to us, but our both of our girls question it. Isn't that interesting?
Well, Dorian did too. Remember when he said the Psalms were worthless and all that?
Oh yes, that's right.
And the only one that really has never questioned anything is Johan.
He's yeah. But you're right.
Yeah, but Johan's an idealist. He's not that type of person. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just Johan to me is just. Okay, that's what it is. Well, good.
Yeah, that's true. He just, right now, he's in a phase where he said it's boring.
Right. But, I mean, I'm not going to say some parts of the Bible are boring, but...
Especially for a kid, it can be a little...
I don't know who I was talking to yesterday.
But you loved it.
I loved it as a kid. Kids be out playing, and I'm like, Bible, I want to hang out with Moses. These people are whack, yo.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I loved it
that much like you.
I never understood that Bible's boring. I never understood. I would read the same thing over and over again. It was so fascinating to me. But it's weird because there's stuff that I would tell you like in a Bible study, like, oh, that's so smart, and it's stuff that I
read when you were
got
8?
in my room when I was 7 years old.
Oh,
you know
my
what
word,
I mean?
yeah.
Like it was like insights or ideas or whatever that I, you know. But it's called Unsainted, so if you let that carry, you could say it's about God or the breakup of the band, you know, because not the band, but it's called. I think it's about like that moment when you decide you're not going to pretend to live at this standard that people want you to live at. You know what I mean? Like people have a certain idea of what it means for you to be a saint, and if you know, follow through on what their ideology is, then you're a good guy. But the minute you step outside of that, now all of a sudden you're the worst person on the planet.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It happens, and I'm sure it happens all the time. But it happens to us, you know. When it's like, I couldn't believe that you did X, Y, and Z, and da 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 da, and you know, it's like. But I think when you come into this stuff like in your 30s, I think it's a lot different than coming into it in your early 20s, which is what happened with Slipknot.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to make everybody happy, and that, you know, when you're in your 20s, you really think you can make everybody happy. And then you get to your 30s after a couple cycles, and you're like, man, screw these people.
See, it wasn't like that for me though, because I still felt like, no, I think we can, you know, try to make everybody happy. But then like certain events hit where I was like, this is impossible. It's literally impossible to make everybody happy. And in that situation, I had to just let it go.
Well, yeah, the only way to make people happy is to like completely die to yourself in a bad way.
Yeah.
In the sense of your personality and everything about who you are gets subsumed into people's ideology.
Well, I think that you have to keep morphing who you are, because everybody has different ideas of what will make them happy.
Yeah.
And so you have to keep changing. You have to be, what is that character, the shapeshifter?
Yeah, you gotta shapeshift to keep everybody happy with you at the same time. It's like, no, I'm just gonna go ahead and be who I am. Just gonna go ahead and be who I am.
I like this line. I'm finally holding on to letting go.
Yep.
Because it's the opposites there, but
Yeah.
he's like holding on. But I just liked it, the wording there.
Yeah, I've said it over and over again. I think in our world of iPhones and social media, everybody has 24/7 access to people, and so not being friends with someone now carries so much more weight than it did before. Because if it was before, I'd just not talk to you.
Right.
I'm just not gonna talk to you, or I'm not gonna go over your house and have tea or whatever. But now, it's like, I saw him on Facebook, and he's not talking to me.
Yeah.
And I see the little green dot on Facebook. That means he's live, and he's not. Remember we had that girl that was always like, you saw my message. So it's you know, when you're talking about like holding on to letting go, it must be really difficult as a giant celebrity to let go of someone, and it depends on what you're talking about. Is he letting go of the idea that he needs to, you know, be this person for everybody else, or is he literally letting a person go? Obviously, considering where the band is right now, you know, it's. But it could also be letting go to religion. You know, like, I didn't come this far to sink so low, which makes me believe that it's not. But anyway, what do you give the song?
It's Slipknot. 9.8. I love their music.
I like the other song better. I'm going to give this an 8.9. The All Out Life one.
Yeah.
I felt like the All Out Life one was a little bit more heavier than this one. And I like heavy music. But I think this one, lyrically, is probably deeper. So, shout out to Slipknot. Shout out to everybody for letting us know it's there. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.